This is Umar for BoxNation. We're back in the capital of world boxing, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. I'm joined by the legend himself, Teddy Atlas. His Excellency has brought the Ring magazine back. Incredible dinner we've had tonight, incredible event, Teddy. Just sum it all up for me. Give me your thoughts.
History. It's important to have history in anything. Anything that of consequence has history. This sport has more history and has been around longer than any other sport. Yet, the history in this great sport, a sport I've been in 50 years, my sport, our sport, does not have the availability of the history to young people out there that other sports have. Other sports that haven't been around a fraction of the time that this sport's been around. Baseball, basketball, football, American football, tennis, all those sports, every one of those sports.
Bring you Teddy.
A man who can make me a little smarter. No, someone who can actually.
I'm trying to make a comeback. I want to make a comeback.
You never went anywhere. You know, you've always been here. You've always been
No,
a
I want you
staple.
to make the
You've
comeback.
always been a staple of boxing. Listen, the thing to me, the importance of this moment, this night with Ring Magazine, is that history is important. It's important for the younger people to learn, to be taught. And the thing that always bothered me in my sport that I've been around 50 years now is that basketball, baseball, American football, all of these sports, they have the availability of history for the young people that is quickly at the end of their fingertips, that you could talk to a young kid, they'll tell you who the basketball teams were from a few years ago. They'll tell you, they go back even further, who the football players were, who the baseball players were. But this sport that's been around longer than any other sport,
And has better history.
that they don't know it. They don't know it. And that's why it's important that you have places, mediums like the Ring magazine to be able to have that history, to be able to show that history, to be able to save that history and make it available to people, to the fans, to people that don't know that history. And to know, they know the baseball players, they know the basketball players, they know some of their trials and tribulations. They don't know these great fighters, what they went through to get there. They have no idea, and they should. They should know about those guys. They should know about a Sugar Ray Robinson. They should know about a Joe Louis and what he went through to get there. They should know about Jack Johnson, the first black heavyweight champ, and what he went. They should know about a guy, and I know you don't even know, a guy named Sam Langford, who fought in the 20s and the 30s, and he fought everybody, and he had over 200 fights, and he fought from lightweight to heavyweight. They should know, and what he overcame to get there. They should know this. And guess what? There's not enough places to get that information. That is why tonight is important. That's why what Turki Alalshikh is doing is important, because he is salvaging history. He is making sure that history is going to be intact for people to understand this sport.
And he's the custodian now of Ring Magazine. It couldn't be in better hands. The love of the sport, how he feels about it. This was it 102 years now. This will go from strength to strength. It will go on for another 100 years. You know, look what he's doing. He loves every bit about this. And it's not just about the boxers as well. I mean, the boxers are the most important because they're the guys in the ring. The trainers and some of the great managers. That's what it's about.
You know, he's right. I mean, he's really right. And look, the reason why, you know, people say, well, he's got the money to do it. And he does. He does. I mean, you don't need Teddy Atlas to tell you that, right? But really the reason he's the right person, he has the passion. He actually has the passion for this sport and the care for the people in this sport to make sure that the sport is healthy again. That to me, that's what gives me.
And that's what happened. And that's what's happening now. It's
100%.
Amazing fights, amazing shows, and bringing everybody together. Getting them up, getting them here. All the champions from the past, important names from boxing, all in this room. It's amazing.
What would upset me, and what did upset me before a year ago, because he's been around a year now, Turki Alalshikh, and bringing people like him, the great promoters together, and smart enough to go to the right places. Place like this. You talk about history. You talk about a guy who has held a level of excellence in this sport for years. I mean, you're talking about him. You're talking about the people that Turki Alalshikh. He went out and he reached the right people. But you know why I'm glad he's around? What really upset me and pissed me off? This sport, my sport, our sport, started becoming irrelevant. Yeah, that's right. I'll say it because the truth is the truth. It started becoming irrelevant a few years ago, where people were they weren't respecting it the way that it deserved to be, the way that it was always respected. It started becoming people. I heard people even saying, "Oh, it's becoming a bit of a cult sport. It's becoming smaller and shrinking and so." And when I heard that, I said, "This sport that should never be said about this sport." He has come along and made it relevant again, put it on top again.
Do you agree with that, Frank? That was irrelevant a few years ago.
I think so. I think more so in America than it was in the UK, because I
Yeah.
think we've got quite a healthy market, and certainly it has been for a while. But absolutely, what Teddy's saying is spot on. And look how it's gone. It's not how it used to be in France or Italy, Holland, Germany. They had real thriving markets, and it can come back. There's no doubt about it. It can come back.
And it's not a complicated formula.
And
It's not.
exciting.
You know what the formula is? It's a formula that he understands better than anybody. Put the fights together that the public wants. Put the best with the best. Stop with this A versus B, where you're just building records. No, put competitive fights together, and they will come. You remember that movie, Field of Dreams? You guys know that movie,
Yeah,
Field
yeah.
of Dreams, over where I come from in America. It was a Kevin Costner. It was a great movie, and he said he heard a voice, and the voice said, "Build it, and they will come." Well, guess what? I don't know what voices Turkey's been hearing, but he might have heard that voice. Build it, they will come. Put competitive fights together, they will come back. The people will come back. And you know what? They're coming back. The sport is getting healthy again.
They certainly are. Teddy, I do have to get your thoughts on this Saturday. Which way are you leaning? We know who he's backing. Which way are you going?
I'm going to leave you on that one because I've got to go and do the one over there.
Frank, it's been a pleasure. Yeah, just before we close off, Teddy, where are you going with this?
Usyk. Why am I going with Usyk? Same reason I went with him the first time. I like both guys. They're terrific, and they've been terrific for the sport. They're great. They're great. You're not going to hear a negative word about either one from me. And I wish I could, give them both wins. But at the end of the day, you have to be on one side or the other. And there's a reason, the same reason why I picked him the first time. The greatest trait of Usyk, he finds a way to win. He finds a way to win. He's always found a way since he was a kid, winning the Olympic gold medal, winning the cruiserweight title, consolidating the titles, going to another country and fighting a bigger heavyweight, winning a heavyweight title, and then just to show it wasn't a fluke, he goes back to that country and wins it again and beats him a second time. Just to let you know, this wasn't an accident. I know how to win. And he's always found a way to win. At the end of the day, yeah, it's going to come down to some adjustments. Who does this? Is Usyk going to be allowed to press forward and wear down Tyson the way he did the first time? Probably not. Does Tyson take a different approach? Probably so. Where maybe he backs up Usyk, he becomes the boss. He doesn't let Usyk press him back and wear him down, because pressure does wear you down. And he did wear him down with that pressure. Is that the way it goes? Well, if it goes that way, it could, because both guys are versatile. Both guys are dimensional. Fury has the ability to press forward or to box. This time, maybe to try to regain the title, he'll do what he did against Wilder this second time. Press forward and not let the other guy be the boss. But you know what? Here's the interesting, great part about this that's so intriguing. The Usyk, he can adjust back to being a counterpuncher, being a guy who uses his legs, being a guy who boxes, being a guy who puts punches together, being a guy who gives angles. So that makes it intriguing. But at the end of the day, I'm not even going to go to those things. You know what I'm going to go to and tell you why I'm picking them? For the same reason when I was doing the fights at ESPN for 20 years, I used to get passionate and even angry and a little crazy when they would rob a fighter. You know why? Because I understood what a fighter went through. I understood what these guys were pencils that had no respect for the sport, and they would rob fighters and think nothing of it. I understood what they didn't understand, that every time a fighter gets in a ring, he leaves a piece of himself in that ring. And when you get older, as both these fighters have gotten up in age and they've become older now, when you get older, you leave more of yourself in that ring. Both of these fighters, these great fighters, both of these great men, they left a piece of themselves in the ring the last time they were here and fought. So you know where it comes down for me? Who left more of himself in the ring? And for me, I'm going to say Fury did, and I'm picking Usyk.
Well, I was buzzing about the rematch, and you've just amped that up by 10 times, Teddy. Been a pleasure, and enjoy the rest of your stay in Riyadh.
Thank you.
Cheers, Teddy.